waste from your workplace could include items that are dangerous if handled in the wrong way by people who collect and dispose of the waste, and anyone else who gets access to it. Hazardous cleaning against. Cause burn, make chemical react with other waste item. Sharp object could cause several cuts, cyanide, hypodermic, use condom, sanitary towels, use razor blade, etc. So, think of workplace as having two types, stuff we don't have what it is, and stuff that dangerous. Both are bad news if dili na handle og tarong. Imagine cleaning chemicals that can burn you, or use it cooking oil that could start a fire. Even things like cigarette butts and paper can catch fire easily. And sharp things like broken glass or metal can cut you. Then there are things like need use condom and razor that can spread disease. It's important to be careful with all these things and make sure they're disposed of properly. Not a different responsibility to keep our workplace safe. We should learn how to handle these things safely and follow the rules para dili makaharm sa tuwa. This way, everyone stays healthy. Each type of waste must be kept separate from general waste, securely contained to minimize the risk of accident or contamination. Hazardous liquid including using oils in suitable, fairly labeled container. Glass in its own container or bin. Syringe and needles in a sharp box of the type used in hospital, etc. Or if only found occasionally, put in an empty drains can or similar container that won't be pierced by the needle. It is important to sort out our waste and keep it safe so we don't have accident or ma-spread ang germs. Like, mura kag organize sa imong mga personal nga gamit. You put in a one box, the other is another box, and so on. So we need to put different types of waste in different containers. Dangerous liquid like used oil should go in special containers nga naay mga labels so everyone makabalo kung unsa sulod ana nga container. Broken glass should go in a bin so it doesn't break and cut someone. Sharp things like needles should go in a sharp box like they use in hospitals. If we don't have a sharp box, we can put them in a sturdy container that a needle can poke through like an empty can. By keeping things organized and safe, we make our workplace safer and clean for everyone. Next, checklist safe of storage waste. Container not worn or damaged and from hygiene reasoning. Liquids not liable to leak out. Not liable to be knocked or blow over. Lid with not blow open in a strong wind. Secure against animals, vandals, children, etc. Contents will not chemically react with each other. Minimum fire risks. So, keeping waste safe and organized is like mura kagahino sa inyong kusina. Need na to mag-use of sturdy clean containers that are tightly sealed para ma-prevent leaks and spills. The container should be stable so they don't tip over and have lid that stay closed even in windy weather. Kailangan sa nato ipalayo from animals or people who might try to get into them. It's important to make sure nga dili makasagol-sagolan that can react badly with each other like mga chemicals and to store waste safety to prevent fires. By following these simple rules, we keep workplace clean, safe, and free from problems. Next, checklist. Waste left for collection. Strong containers or bags to resist wind and rain. Containers or bag secure against disturbance by animals and vandals, etc. Old packaging or cardboard cartons collapse and security banded. Not likely to blow away by wind. Not likely to be knocked over by passing vehicle or pedestrian. Drums. old cooking oil, and similar continues stability clearly and fairly close. Items left outside for collection no longer than necessary. Skip covered. Cover. We need to make sure everything is organized and safe so no one gets hurt or makes a miss when we put out our waste for collection. We need to make sure nga makasulod sa sturdy containers or bags that can handle wine and rain. We should bundle cardboard and packaging together so dili siya dali mulupad. O kailangan nato butangan og label tanan keep the containers closed tight. Especially things like mga oil drums. We should also cover keeps so the waste stay inside. It's everyone's job to do this right. The way we keep our community clean and safe and we protect the environment.
So, I'm the next reporter. My name is Maria Cleofe A. Dumadag. So, my topic is foodborne illness. So, food gets spoiled unless they are preserved. Person who ingest food that are spoiled or contaminated will end up being food poisoned. Food poisoning is a foodborne illness usually caused by microorganism. So, foodborne illness is nangyayari siya when you eat food that's contaminated with germs. Like yung may mga molds, bacteria, of course. These germs can make you feel sick, like magsakit atong tiyan, diba? Then magsukat ta. So, to prevent this, dapat mag-wash tag hands always. And it's important to cook food properly. So, next is molds. These are simple plants which appear like cat whiskers on food, particularly on sweet foods, meat, and cheese. In most instances, they come on various visible colors such as green, yellow, brown, and orange. So, very understandable naman ang molds, no? Mao ni siyang gatubo sa mga bread or cheese. So, kung meron ng molds yung pagkain, of course, dili na siya pwede kaunon. So, to prevent the growth of molds, dapat nasa tamang temperature yung ref nyo. Usually below 40 degree Fahrenheit or 4 degree Celsius. Lang ang temperature. Also regularly clean your refrigerator. Next. So next is bacteria, are one-celled plants that can grow, spread rapidly. Bacteria spread through contamination. This is when an infected object or hand gets into contact with the food item. Bacteria are one of the most important biological foodborne hazard any food establishment. Bacteria are reported in more cases of foodborne illness than any other hazard. So, bacteria mao ni ang tiny germs that can grow fast and make the food unsafe to eat. Of course, ga-spread sila kapag madumi yung kamay mo or yung mga utensils na ginagamit sa food. So, to prevent, always wash your hands before handling food. Also, the utensils or everything that touches the food. Next.
So, good day everyone. I am Venus Hyson and this is my part of the report, the vegetative and spore states of bacteria cells. So, in vegetative state, these are the bacteria that actively grow, reproduce, produce toxins, and harmful if ingested. It means if you swallow or absorbing the food. These vegetative cells are vulnerable to environmental stressor. So, unsa man mga environmental stressors? Muna siya ang heat, dryness, acidity, or lack of nutrients. While ang pores are dormant, resistant structures that allow organism to survive harsh condition. From the word survive, mo ni mga bacteria nga inactive, but they survive in harsh condition. Like example, bacteria might not be able to reproduce in very cold freezer, but then nara Japon siya, pero di lang siya ga-reproduce but di survive. Ipumabalik na normal ang temperature, then mauna pa nga part nga mubalik sa vegetative state. Mag-grow ang bacteria. So muna nakalahian sa vegetative states and spore states. Muna siyang makita nimo diya sa, as you can see sa chart, makita nimo ang ilang differences. So muna ang vegetative and spore states of bacteria cells. So next, spoilage and disease cause bacteria. Bacteria are classified as either spoilage or pathogenic, disease-causing microorganism. So first is spoilage bacteria. This bacteria degrade food, causing it to spoil. This spoilage manifests as changes in taste, sa smell, sa texture, and sa appearance, making the food unacceptable for consumption. While being unpleasant, spoilage bacteria generally don't cause illness. So, dili ra kay maka-cause of illness ang spoilage bacteria. Next is pathogenic bacteria. Pathogenic bacteria are disease-causing microorganisms. This bacteria can make people sick if the bacteria themselves or their toxins are consumed with food. This can lead to various foodborne illnesses. So, munang nakalahian sa spoilage bacteria ug sa pathogenic bacteria, ang spoilage bacteria is dili ra siya maka-cause og illness, while ang pathogenic bacteria is maka-cause siya og sick sa people. So, muna ang nakalahian nilang duha. Thank you.
Next is bacterial growth. Bacteria reproduce when one bacterial cells divides to form two new cells. This process is called binary fission. The reproduction of bacteria and an increase in the number of organisms is referred to as bacterial growth. Bacterial growth happens when a single bacterial cells divides into two identical cells daw. So, this process is ginatawag siya na binary fission. As more bacteria are produced, mas lumalaki yung population nila. And the growth speeds depends on factors like food and temperature. Thank you.
Okay, so for what bacteria need in order to multiply? Bacteria need 6 conditions in order to multiply. They need a source of food, a mildly acid environment, pH of 4.6 to 7.0, a temperature between 41 Fahrenheit 5 Celsius and 140 Fahrenheit 60 Celsius. Time, different oxygen, requiring environments and enough moisture. These naturally contain microorganisms. We need to be sure to control these 6 conditions as much as possible to prevent bacteria from multiplying. So, silbi ang food daw gahatag sa ila og energy a slightly acidic environment like atong stomach, then ang temperature kay di ra pud siya init or kanang like bugnaw, and enough time to grow. Some bacteria need oxygen while others don't, and they all need moisture nga makahelp sa ilang nga ma-absorb ang food and function. If we know what they need, makontrol na nato those things to keep them from multiplying too much and making us sick. Next is the source of food. A suitable food supply is the most important condition needed for bacterial growth. Most bacteria prefer foods that are high in protein or carbohydrates like meats, poultry, seafoods, dairy products, and cooked rice, beans, and potatoes. So when we talk about food safety, it's important to remember that bacteria love these types of foods. So we need to be careful about how we manage and saan siya pag-handle nga makip nato nga safe nato siya nga makaon. Like, it should be always refrigerate ang mga meat and dairy products and cook food thoroughly to kill any bacteria that might be lurking. Next is the acidity. The pH symbol represents the acidity or alkalinity of a food measured on a scale from 0 to 14. Acidic foods have a pH less than 7.0, while alkalinity foods have a pH above 7.0. Most bacteria prefer a neutral environment but can grow in foods with a pH between 4.6 and 9.0. Disease-causing bacteria thrive in pH ranges 4.6 to 7.0, including milk, meat, and fish. So a scale from 0 to 14 that tells us how acidic or alkaline something is. Things with a low number mao ni siya ang acidic like mga lemon juice, and things with a high number are very alkaline like mga baking soda. Most bacteria like in the middle, neither too acidic siya nor too alkaline. But ang uban nga bad bacteria makagrow gyapon siya sa foods that have a pH between 4.6 and 7.0, which includes things like mga gatas, meat, and fish. So, importante siya nga masabtan nato kung unsa ka acidic or alkaline ang foods are to keep them safe to eat and prevent them from spoiling. Next is the temperature. Retail food establishments typically measure temperature in Fahrenheit or Celsius. Bacteria have different growth requirements, with cyclophilic bacteria growing within 32 Fahrenheit to 70 Fahrenheit. Mesophilic bacteria growing between 21 Celsius and 110 Fahrenheit, and thermophilic bacteria growing above 110 Fahrenheit. Time and temperature are critical factors affecting bacteria growth in food. Disease-causing bacteria can grow in the food temperature zone, while slow-growing bacteria like Listeria monocytogenes can grow below 41 Fahrenheit. Careful monitoring of time and temperature is crucial for food establishment managers to control the growth of disease-causing and spoilage bacteria. The saying, keep it hot, keep it cold, or don't keep it. So, ang temperature, importante gid siya when it comes to keeping food safe, especially sa mga lugar like restaurants and grocery stores. Think of it like this, like different bacteria, like different temperatures, na uban nga bugnaw din apoy init, and ang uban sila mas prefer nila ang hot temperatures. Also, there is a danger zone where ang bad bacteria nga mo-grow siya paspas, and that's between 41 Fahrenheit and 140 Fahrenheit. Bisan ang uban nga bacteria that like it cold, like Listeria, can still grow at temperatures below 41 Fahrenheit. So it's really important to keep food hot, keep it cold, or don't keep it at all. That means keeping hot food and cold food to prevent bacteria from multiplying nga makahatag og sakit sa mga people. Next is the time. Bacteria can double in number every 15 to 30 minutes, with Clostridium perfringens doubling every 10 minutes. A single cell can produce over 1 million cells in 5 hours. Proper food storage and handling prevent bacteria from multiplying. In the food service industry, bacteria need 4 hours to cause illness ranging from 41 degrees Celsius to 140 degrees Celsius. So, ang mga bacteria, dali na ni siya magdagan, especially sa mga pagkaon. Imagine, ang gamay nga bacteria mo, double siya every 10 minutes. So, that is a lot of bacteria bisag gamay ra nga oras. In just 5 hours, one bacteria can become over 1 million. This is why it's so important to keep food safe. There's a danger zone between 41 Fahrenheit and 140 Fahrenheit, where bacteria love to grow and makahatag sa tuwang sakit. If atuang pagkaon pasagdan lang nato nga maing ana, it can become dangerous to eat. To keep food safe, we need to keep it cold below 41 Fahrenheit or hot above 140 Fahrenheit. Pwede po ta magamit og thermometers para ma-check ang temperature sa atong food and follow the rules for storing food properly. Next is the oxygen. Bacteria require oxygen for growth, with aerobic bacteria needing oxygen, while anaerobic bacteria cannot survive without oxygen. Anaerobic bacteria thrive in vacuum packaged or canned foods and in cooked food masses. Facultative anaerobic bacteria prefer free oxygen, and microaerophilic organisms have specific oxygen requirements. Controlling oxygen conditions may not prevent foodborne illness. So, bacteria need oxygen to survive, pero dili halos sa ilangan need the same amount. Some bacteria called aerobic bacteria nga love or hilig nila ang oxygen and thrive in places where there is plenty of it, like sa hangin. Other bacteria called anaerobic bacteria actually don't like oxygen and can even die in its presence. They like to live in places where there is no oxygen, like inside can or dilator vacuum-sealed foods. There are also bacteria that can live with or without oxygen, called facultative anaerobes. They prefer oxygen but can survive without it. And then, there are some bacteria that only need a little bit of oxygen, called microaerophilic organisms. Even though we try to control oxygen levels in food, it's not always enough to keep bacteria from growing. That's because different bacteria have different needs when it comes to oxygen. So it's important to understand that oxygen alone won't solve all our food safety problems. Next is moisture. It's crucial for bacterial growth, leading to the preservation of dry foods. However, water activity or the amount of water not bound to the food is more important. Disease-causing bacteria can only grow in foods with water activity above 85, preserving foods by lowering water activity to 85 or below, such as by drying or adding salt or sugar, reduces available water. So, ang uban nga bacteria need nilag water para mo grow, just like plants need water. But when we talk about food safety, dili ta mag-focus kung unsa kadaghan sa water sa food, we look at how much water is available for bacteria to use. That's called water activity. If the water activity in food is above 0.85, it's like a swimming pool for bacteria and they can grow and multiply. But if we can lower the activity to 0.85 or below, it's like taking away their swimming pool. Habuhaton na to by drying food or by adding things like salt or sugar which soak up the water and make it unavailable to bacteria. This helps preserve the food and keeps it safe to eat. Next is the foodborne illness. Many people have experienced foodborne illnesses, often causing symptoms similar to those associated with the flu. The severity of these symptoms depends on the type of microbe, contamination level in the food, and the affected person's general condition. It's important to consider the cause and potential sources of contamination when diagnosing foodborne illnesses. So, ang foodborne illnesses is mo ni siya nga makakuha kag sakit gikan sa imuhang ginakaon or nainom. It happens when food has harmful bacteria, viruses, or parasites in it. Makafeel kag hilanat, sakit sa imong tiyan, show up, have diarrhea, and feel tired, kind of like that flu. How sick you get, nakadepende siya on what made you sick, kung unsa kadaghan imong nakaon, and how healthy you are. It's important to know that what caused the illness so we can treat it and prevent it from happening again. We need to be careful about sa atong safety to keep everyone healthy and especially sa foods. That means washing our hands, cooking food properly, and storing food correctly.
So, first is we have foodborne illness. Many people have experienced foodborne illness, often causing symptoms similar to those associated with the flu. The severity of these symptoms depends on the types of microbes, contamination level in the food, and the effect person's general condition. It's important to consider the cause and potential source of contamination when diagnosing foodborne illness. We have here the general symptoms of foodborne illness. Usually, we have here headache, nausea, vomiting, dehydration, abdominal pain, diarrhea, fatigue, fever. Muna siya atong general symptoms of foodborne illness. Foodborne illness is a general classified as a foodborne infection, intoxication, or toxin-mediated infection. Your awareness of how different microbes cause foodborne illness will help you understand how they contaminate food. When living disease causing microorganism is eaten along with the food, it can cause foodborne infection. After indigestion, the organism buries into the lining of the victims of digestive tract and begins to grow the number. This will lead to the common symptoms to foodborne illness like diarrhea. Sometimes the microbes and parasites are example of microorganisms that can cause infection. A common type of foodborne infection is Salmonella. This disease is caused by Salmonella bacteria that are frequently found in poultry and eggs. Classification of foodborne illness. We have here an infection caused by eating food that contain living disease microorganism. So mo na siya ang isa sa mga kuan. Ang foodborne infection is mo na siya ang microorganism nga makatakod just like ang bacteria, viruses, parasite, and fungi nga makasulod sa atong lawas pinaagi sa atong ginakaon or pag-inom. Mga reason is mo na siya ang dili limpyo ang pag-prepare sa atong pagkaon. Mo na sa isa ka reason. Kaduha is ang atong pagkaon nga hilaw, kulang sa luto. Mo na sa ang reason nga nung ma-infection ta. The next in intoxication caused by eating food that contain harmful chemical or toxin produced by bacteria or other source. Kani siya is mo na siya ang diri nato mahitabo ang isa ka tawo mga kaon o mga pagkaon nga naay ilo or toxin nga naghimo sa atong microbio, just like bacteria, fungi, or chemical. Dili siya pareho sa atong foodborne infection nga need og live microorganism. Ang foodborne intoxication is gikan siya sa lason nga gihimo sa atong microorganism bisan kuan na siya, patay na siya, mo na siya. So isa sa atong likayan is likayan nato ang pagbilin sa atong pagkaon ay sa room temperature sa sulod nga dugay nga panahon, mo na siya atong likayan. Then proper food handling, just like wearing gloves o paghugas sa atong kamot before ta magluto, mo na siya. Paglikay sa mga canned goods, likayan nato ang pagkaon sa mga canned goods nga na-leak. Pagbantay sa atong pagkaon nga seafoods, mo na siyang isa ka atong likayan gyud. Pagbantay gyud sa atong ginakaon. Then the next is toxin-mediated infection caused by eating food that contain harmful microorganisms that will produce a toxin once inside the human body. So mo na siya ang mga bakterya nga atong ginakaon bisan kanang buhi siya. Dito siya mag-produce og mga hilo or toxin sulod sa atong tiyan. Muna siya ang toxin mediated. Next is foodborne illness caused by bacteria. Bacteria are classified as spore-forming and non-spore-forming organism. Foodborne illness caused by spore-forming bacteria. That growing group of bacteria is capable of forming spore. So spore-forming bacteria are generally found in a food, grow in the soil, like vegetables and species. They may also be found in animals product. So makita nato siya sa atong mga animals product. Next is foodborne illness caused by bacteria. For example, a 10-gallon pot of chili was prepared for the next day lunch. All the ingredients, beans, meat, spices, tomato base, were mixed together and cooked to rapid boil. Vegetable cells should die, but spore may survive. So mo na siya. The chili was stored in the 10-gallon pot and allowed to cool overnight in a walk-in refrigerator. It can take core temperature of chili to 3 days to cook from 140 Fahrenheit to 60 Celsius. If given enough time, that right temperature during the cooling processing spore-forming bacteria that survive cooking process may change into vegetable cells and begins to grow. Spores are mostly like to turn vegetative when heat shock optimum condition exists for growth temperature are in food temperature. Danger zone between 40 Fahrenheit to 5 Celsius to 40 Fahrenheit to 60 Celsius. When amount of time food is the danger zone is 4 hours or more. To prevent spore-forming bacteria changing to dangerous vegetative state, it is critical that hot food temperature be maintained at 140 Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Celsius or above, and cool food should be held at 41 Fahrenheit to 5 Celsius or below. So mao na siya. Kailangan na to siguraduhon nga ang atong food ang siguraduhon ang kainit naa sa 140 Fahrenheit or 60 Celsius o mas taas pa jud para sa pagpugong sa pagtubo sa atong bacteria. So mo na siya sa hot food. And sa cold food is temperature ang ang mga bugnaw nga mapagkaon kinahanglan ibutang nato siya sa 41 degree Fahrenheit or 5 degree Celsius o mas ubos aron malikayan nato ang pagtubo sa atong vegetative cells. That's all.
Foodborne illness caused by non-performing bacteria. The following group of bacteria do not form spores. That is, they stay in the vegetative state all the time. So first, we have this Campylobacter jejuni. It is a major cause of foodborne infection, and its causative agent is Campylobacter jejuni. Campylobacter jejuni is a bacterial infection. It has the symptoms of watery and bloody diarrhea. Common foods: raw chicken, raw milk, raw meat. So to prevent this bacteria, we must properly handle and cook foods, avoid cross-contamination. Next, we have the Shiga toxin producing Escherichia coli or E. coli. Group of bacteria includes any E. coli capable of producing Shiga toxin. These facultative anaerobic bacteria can be found in the intestines of warm-blooded animals, especially cows. So its causative agent, it is Shiga toxin producing Escherichia coli. So its type of illness is bacterial intoxication or toxin-mediated infection. So that it has the symptoms of bloody diarrhea, followed by the kidney failure and hemolytic uremic syndrome cases, up to 12 to 72 hours. And the common foods is the undercooked hamburger, raw milk, unpasteurized apple cider, and also lettuce. To prevent this, we need to practice good food sanitation, hand washing, properly handle and cook foods. Next, the Listeria monocytogenes. Listeria monocytogenes is a facultative anaerobic bacterium that causes foodborne infection. Causative agent, Listeria monocytogenes, and it is a bacterial infection. So symptoms onset for healthy adult, they had these flu-like symptoms. At-risk population, and third is the stillbirth. Common foods: raw milk, dairy items, raw meat, refrigerated ready-to-eat foods, processed ready-to-eat meats such as hot dogs, raw vegetables, and seafood. And to prevent this, we need to properly store and cook foods. Avoid cross-contamination. Rotate processed refrigerated using FIFO or FIFO to ensure timely use. FIFO is first in, first out. You need to practice that to prevent this bacteria. Next is Salmonella sp. Salmonella sp is a facultative anaerobic bacteria frequently infected as a foodborne infection. So its causative agent, Salmonella sp. It is a bacterial infection. It has the symptoms of nausea, fever, vomiting, abdominal cramps, diarrhea. The symptom will last to 6 to 48 hours. The common foods: raw meats, raw poultry, eggs, milk, and dairy products. And to prevent this, we need to, again, properly cook foods. And most importantly, avoid contamination, cross-contamination. Shigella sp are facultative anaerobic bacteria that account for about 10% of foodborne illness in the United States. Shigella sp is a bacterial infection. It has the symptoms of bacillary dysentery, diarrhea, fever, abdominal cramps, and dehydration that last to 7 days. Common foods, foods that are separated with human contact, salads, raw vegetables, milk, dairy products, raw poultry, non-potable water, ready-to-eat meat. That is the common foods. And to prevent this, we need to wash hands and practice good personal hygiene, properly cook foods. Staphylococcus aureus are facultative anaerobic bacterium that produces a heat-stable toxin as it grows on food. So this bacterium can also grow on cooked and otherwise safe foods that are recontaminated by food workers who mishandle the food Staphylococcus aureus bacteria. These bacteria do not compete well when other types of microorganisms are present. So, Staphylococcus aureus is a bacterial intoxication that has the symptoms of nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramps, and headaches. So, common foods are prepared with human contact, cooked or processed foods. To prevent this, we need to wash our hands and practice good personal hygiene. Cooking will not inactive the toxin. The last, we have the Vibrio P. Vibrio P are the organisms within the Vibrio group of bacteria that have been connected with foodborne infections. So, its causative agent, it is Vibrio P. Vibrio P is a bacterial infection that has symptoms of headache, fever, chills, diarrhea, vomiting, severe electrolytes loss, and gastroenteritis. So common foods, raw or improperly cooked fish and shellfish. To prevent this, we need to practice good sanitation again and again. Properly cooked foods, avoid serving raw seafood. And that's all. Thank you.